How do you see this? How would you categorize this? What is this?
Well, I've been monitoring this for months. We monitor the chatter and web pages and Telegram webs of these right-wing extremists. And I've been up since 2:30 this morning preparing for exactly this. We knew from a lot of the chatter that these people had talked about in the last 2 weeks of coming to the district armed. They were coming to this March to Save America and the March for Trump in order to express their support for the president. But the thing that I was most worried about was precisely what happened today. Because as you recall, in the plot to kidnap Governor Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan, the plan B for that was to storm the State House with 200 people, take the Democrats in the State House hostage, start trying them and executing them. That is what the indictment had for their plan B. For them to go from Washington, D.C., the mall, for a large crowd to come up to the Capitol. And when I saw them start moving and running towards the gates, because we watched their own video feeds, they started fighting with law enforcement and tried to breach from the west. Then other groups went around to the east. And somehow Capitol Hill police let them into the building, which is utterly amazing. But what's happened here, Shep, is a massive national security failure. We don't know whether the individuals who were armed in this engagement were in fact using these breachers to come in, kidnap people, have an armed hostage barricade, and or execute our government officials. We don't know. It's only by dint of the Secret Service that they stopped them from getting into the House chambers. So this is absolutely abysmal. And what we have here is essentially the start of a Trump insurgency in the United States.
Malcolm, what I don't understand, and I'm guessing many of our viewers don't understand, all of us knew that they were preparing for trouble today. Business owners knew as they boarded up. Capitol Police knew as they cordoned off. They created another perimeter around the Capitol. Everyone involved knew that the chatter on the networks was made public for a reason, and yet they got into the Capitol with what appeared to be the greatest of ease. How is that possible? What happened?
Well, I'm sure we're going to investigate it because, the first thing that needs to happen is the chief of the Capitol Hill Police needs to be fired, like tomorrow. But we're going to have to figure this out because I suspect, and I'm a little surprised, because when I went through SWAT officer school about 15 years ago, I went through with the Capitol Hill Police. They have a group called the CERT, right? Which is an emergency response team, their version of the SWAT. But it was the line officers who were, really engaging on the western portico and the western steps. But the officers on the eastern side appeared to think that this was almost like a very large tour group coming to the steps of the western side, of the eastern side. And then when they started pushing through, they just fell back and let them have the entire entrance. Some of their tactics were horrible. They had one officer would take out his ass baton, wave it, shout at them, go back 10 feet until they pushed him up 2 flights of stairs. They took over the building. How do we not know that there was not a B team in there whose job it was to bring weapons and explosives, I don't know, staged near the RNC headquarters, for example, and come into there once they've breached that building and start killing people? We don't know. Everyone involved in this needs to be fired. There needs to be a commission to investigate this, because what if it was ISIS?
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.